Right now, the issue with Google, Facebook, and Microsoft, and a lot of other companies revealing information is the liability aspect. Is that they don't want to be part of this legal system where, say, they leak information and you sue them. They don't want to be liable for that. So they're trying to petition the government in the same way that AT&T, Verizon, all these companies did. They have a lot of information about you, and they want to become the information source, but they don't want to be implicated in this process where they're considered, a liability to civil rights. And you see the immediate response from Facebook and Microsoft and Google when these issues come out. They want to say, oh, the government is making us do this. But the truth is that they participate with the government in these programs. They participate in the government with these programs in India. They participate with the government in these programs in China. They filter out issue-based content. So I think in the U.S. maybe maybe we're not at such a level where they're regulating the media, but they're definitely at a stage where they're regulating personal communication.
Why would they do this?
I think the well, this is just my opinion, but I think the federal authorities and the people that are prosecuting crime in the U.S. have gotten so lax and so willing to go with these electronic sources of interception that they whether or not there's an issue related to the internet, they subpoena right away. There's an issue, they subpoena Facebook. There's a national security issue, they subpoena Google right away. The level of subpoenas that Google, Facebook, and all these companies get is almost at a level that the foreign governments petition them. So the U.S. actually ranks the highest in terms of subpoenas to these companies, and these companies, if they reveal something that's maybe not even useful for prosecution, they're vying for a position where they're not going to be liable for any of this like act. And the cybersecurity regulation that's currently in Congress right now is a push towards that. They're saying that, well, these companies allow for a method of communication among people, but they shouldn't be liable for what happens on the networks. So that's why some of these companies are so willing and so ready to give out information. It's almost like a commercial aspect of their business, where they expect people to share their personal information, yet still be liable for sharing their personal information. I mean, people like it's a common joke. Like people say, "Why are you on Facebook? You're giving them all their information." Of course, you're giving them the information, but I think what's the government's more interested is the private information, private conversations that go on, the chats that go on, more than just what they can see.
Certain private conversations, or just all private conversations? I mean,
like if you believe the Prism leaks, for example, that I think this came out in June 2012, was the period of these leaks. These leaks said that the government has domain level access to Google, to Facebook, to MSN, to MySpace. So even to Apple Talk, for example, that you just use like chat with for people. Even Pal Talk, a third party service that's not even that popular. They have domain level access, which means that rather than even subpoenaing Facebook for information, they can access it at the exchange level. And I mentioned this point before, where I said that these Snowden leaks aren't, people knew about this the entire time, because people always suspected that the government not just subpoena access, but they had exchange level access. So, apparently the NSA has infrastructure that they can tap into the Google exchange at the exchange level. So they're bypassing even the user login. They're bypassing, the privacy controls that Facebook has. They can tap the raw data at the raw level. I think that's more important to talk about than what they can do just through court order, because a court order is recorded, while all this underground stuff they have capability of, but they don't have to record in a court inquiry, because it's not a court approved process. Edward Snowden leaks, I feel that they aren't so genuine, or they aren't that earth shattering, because the warrantless wiretapping provides a basis for all of this. Because you can extend a wiretapping statute to include electronic communication. And the wiretapping statutes in the FISA bills, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, gives the government a lot of power beyond what goes into the internet. For example, the FBI right now has laws on the books where they can even go across state lines to capture data. For example, you're a suspect in a state, in a random state, right? And I'm an FBI agent who's surveilling you. I can, by court order, get a get authorization to tap into your communications across state lines, with minimal effort. So, uh, because of the electronics, because of the communications, because of how these things travel across state lines, travel across ISPs, travel across different companies, for the data to get to you eventually, there's a lot of leeway for the government to use to track you while the transaction's happening.